Get started, Jen. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans. My name is Jen Neitzel. I am one of your co-hosts along with the GOAT herself, Miss Laura Biewer. Say hi to everybody, Laura.
Hi, everybody. It's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon now, even in Pacific time. Uh, so glad you guys were able to make some time in your day to include us.
Yeah,
Love seeing everybody.
it's one of my favorite times of the week, getting to hang out with everybody and hear all of your questions. Now, you know how this call works. Laura and I are here to answer any of your questions from marketing to business practices to differences in certificates. You name it, we're here to answer these questions for you. All you have to do is raise your virtual hand, and you will find that at the bottom of your screen where it says raise hand. If you don't see a raised hand function, look in the more bucket, which is over to the right, has three little dots and says more underneath it. So go ahead and start getting in line. And I'm laughing at Cynthia. Cynthia in hot Texas, girl, I'm melting. It is hot in Texas. You are not kidding. We're going to start the way we do. While you guys are getting your hands raised, we're going to start the way we always do. And we are going to talk about some announcements. Now, I know it's summertime and people are off vacationing and spending time with their kids and their families, but we want to make this hour that we spend together every week valuable for everybody on the call. So if you have a question, please raise your hand instead of asking your question in the chat. We might say that a few times today just to remind folks. And our friends and colleagues that help us on this call, like Jen Cooper, who is stepping in for Trisha today and helping us. Thank you, Jen Cooper, as well as Matt Miller and maybe other faculty members. They tend to pop in and ask questions or answer questions. So you might see them encouraging you moving forward to raise your hand. And Laura and I have asked them to do that. So please don't take that as a personal affront. We just want to keep these amazing conversations going because I don't know about you, Laura, but I always walk away from TNT having learned something.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a national call, so we've got people calling in from all over the United States, and things are handled differently depending on the state you're in. And some things work really well in some states, and they don't work so much in other states. So everybody having that opportunity to hear, I didn't know they did it that way. I didn't even know I could do that. We all learn so much when we listen to each other. So that's our purpose. There is method to our madness.
There is method to our madness, isn't there? I also wanted to remind you about another new TNT feature, which is our submittal form for questions. You can now visit notarycoach.com/TNT. And right there, when that page opens up, you will see a box that you can click to submit your question to TNT. So if you are truly afraid to raise your hand and ask a question live, or maybe a question occurs to you in the middle of the week and it's not a Tuesday, you are welcome to go visit notarycoach.com/TNT and submit us your questions there. These questions will not be answered through any other avenue but TNT. So if it is an emergency situation and you need an answer right away, please continue to rely on that awesome NNA hotline or any of the notary mentors that you have relationships with in your community. All right, I see we have a hand up and it is Miss Sue. Hi, Sue. How are you today?
Good. I'm so sorry. My Zoom, I just don't know how to put my face up there.
That's
So,
okay. What's your question?
so I have a question, but I want to make sure I make a statement first. And my
Okay.
statement is your passport to apostille book is over the top fantastic.
Oh, I will let Bill know. Bill, and I'm
Uh,
not sure Judy's on
Judy.
the call.
I called Judy today because I wanted to make sure I stopped what I was doing to tell her how great the book was. I've read her other ones and this one is just phenomenal. So I actually bought the book because I wanted to dog ear all the pages and I can't believe how many dog ears I have. It's just, so if anybody needs this book and hasn't gotten it, it's a good one. It's a keeper.
Oh, great. Thanks for that. That's awesome. I have not had a chance to read it yet. So it sounds like it's amazing. So now I'm really looking forward to diving in. So thanks for sharing that,
You did
Sue.
a great job. And so, Laura, my question is to you. And so I'm going to come to the Saturday program that you're having.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to mail that ballot before I get there?
Yes. Please do so today so that
Yeah.
we have it ahead of time.
All
Mhm.
right. So I'll probably mail it today and then bring one just in case it doesn't get there.
Yeah. So if there's anybody else on this call that's planning to attend on Saturday's live in-person event in Modesto, California, it is an inspector of elections workshop. It started with when you signed up. And so there would have been a ballot, and there would have been election rules. There would have been several other, like 6 different PDFs. And you're supposed to vote as a homeowner would vote. And we're having you go through the process from the beginning so that you can see when you're the inspector of election what happens, right? What happens is people don't realize they have to mail it in. People make mistakes when they're assembling their ballot into the envelope, all kinds of things. And then you have to decide as an inspector, is this okay, this variation or not? So that's why we did it that way. So please, yes, get it in. I'd appreciate it because we're going to look at all those ballots at that workshop, determine if they're qualified or disqualified, do the tally, handle a report, and listen to some property management representatives about the relationship between the inspector of elections, the board is who you really work for, and the property management who you work with. So I'm really excited. That's this Saturday. There are a couple of seats left. And I think it's already in the chat. You just need to go to coachmelora.com/the letters HOA, get the details and register if you're interested. Thank you, Sue, for asking.
And I think Alicia Williams had a question about that as well. And I just want to, she put it in the chat. So I just want to address it while we're talking right now, Laura, about, even though I just got done saying, don't put your questions in the chat. Let's look at me. But
I'm so sorry.
Alicia, are you there?
I am. I'm so
Hey,
sorry. I hopped on late, so I must have missed that part. I'm so
That's
sorry.
okay, girl. Don't
go
worry
ahead and
about
ask your question.
My question was, seeing with mail, I mailed mine out on Saturday, but should we also email our elections just in the event that mail, snail mail?
No,
So,
email will not help you.
okay.
I cannot, an inspector of elections cannot accept them via email. So
I just
whoever
meant
I
for this
get,
purpose. Yeah,
whoever I get, I get.
Gotcha.
got it.
If
That's
you
really
mailed it
cool that you're
Saturday, I'll be checking the mailbox through Friday at 5 p.m. So there's still all these days.
It's so cool you're doing it that way, Laura. So you get like the hands-on tactical. And that's what I always love about your training as well, is it's always very hands-on and tactical. And we're going to walk through this together, holding hands so that you don't feel like you need to hold somebody's hand when you do it for real out in the world, right?
Exactly so. I think that's the best way. I did try to do this via a video, a Zoom call live, and I've done it twice. And I still had people calling me because they weren't quite getting it. And I thought the only way you're going to get it is if you have to do it yourself. And so that's what we're doing. And I think I think we're going to be around 30, 32 notaries in this conference room doing it.
You only have a couple of spots left. So if you guys
Yeah.
are interested, I believe Jen Cooper has put that information in the chat. Just scroll up to find out how you can be a part of Laura's class. And it's coming up this Saturday morning from 9 to 12, right?
Yeah, 8:30 to 9 will be continental breakfast, coffee, a little networking before we get started, and to give people who are driving, some people are driving 2 and 3 hours away, give them a chance to get there before we do anything important. And by the way, socially speaking, when we're done after 12 o'clock, some of us are going to go join together to have lunch. So just want to put that out there as well. If you're coming from a distance, you might as well stay and have lunch. Mexican is on the menu.
Oh, that sounds good. I'm jealous I
Really
can't
good.
be there. So I wanted to remind everybody too, Jen has posted the link in the chat. If you are from California and you want to grab up one of these last seats, I think she only had 5 seats left last week, and I think there's just 1 or 2 now. So grab those up if you can for your Inspector of Election training on Saturday. And then I want to talk about our Notary Business Builder Spotlight. As you know, we have created an innovator spotlight, and those are the products and services that we will now source from to share with the wider community, to share with you on Tuesday Notary Titans every week. And this week, I want to talk to you about Brian Klein with Blue Ink Notary. He creates notary t-shirts. Just something simple for you to either wear for fun or dress it up with a blazer if you're out doing, doing work, general notary work, loan signings, trust signings. You can visit his Etsy shop at the link in the bio. And he also can make custom shirts if you connect with him and if you have an idea. And I love the idea of wearing your business even if you're out in the world being social, right? And sharing, we always tell you, share with everybody in the world, everybody you know, that you are a notary. And this is an awesome way to do it, even if you're just pushing your kids at the park on Saturday morning on the swings, right? It's a great way to advertise. And one of the mistakes I made, Laura, I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, really early in my notary career, was I thought if I bought like a nice shirt and pants that it was considered a uniform and I could write it off on my taxes, but that's not true. You have to have something branded to write it off on your taxes. So it's just another incentive, right, to get your notary t-shirts or even custom t-shirts done. And wouldn't you want to support somebody in the notary industry like yourself that does that on the side? If you guys have any side business and you're a notary business builder, we want to hear about it. All you have to do is submit your application through the Notary Business Builder dashboard. And we would love to promote your products here and elsewhere. All right, guys, who has some questions for us? Please raise your hands.
We must have done our job, Jen, because nobody has questions. We must have answered every possible question a notary could have ever asked. The
There we
beginning of
go.
time.
They're like, nope, I got a few. Sue, did you think of another question? And I want you to, Sue, lean in a little bit this time because I think some folks had some trouble hearing your question last time.
Where the link is to find out about the t-shirts.
It's in the chat.
And I look there, but let me relook. Thank you.
Yeah, it's the second to last one, the one right above where it says very cool notary t-shirts. Just go up one. That chat turns over pretty quick, Sue, so it can go away pretty quick, but it is in there. Lena, what is your question for us today? Lena, are you there?
You're unmuted,
Yeah, I
but
see.
we don't hear you. So, Lena, if you can hear us, we're not hearing you. So you might have to like pop out and come back in, or check your speaker down at the bottom where you see the microphone that has the word mute, and use that little caret next to it and make sure that your speaker is working.
All right, well, while Lena is looking at that, and Lena, if you want to pop out, leave the call and come back in, that might help reset it. That works for me sometimes.
And if that doesn't work, put yours in the chat and then we'll repeat it out loud.
You have permission, Lena,
You
to
have
put it in the chat.
Yeah.
You can't get your microphone to work. Who else has a question for Laura and I today? Everybody's going to get real quiet on us, Laura.
Oh,
Hello.
Elizabeth.
This is Samuel Fagan. Can you hear me?
Hi, Samuel. Yes, I can. Are you on Lena's phone?
Excellent. Yeah, I'm on I'm on some phone. I'm sorry. It's like I've been surfing the web and everything else, but I did. I know that the first person had made a comment about the apostille, or the, in terms of that kind of notary for. But can there be sort of like a quick, like 1 minute summary of what our role would be? Because we are that essentially, if need be, uh, or where am I wrong about that?
So would you like me to take that, or you want to take that?
Sure, yeah.
So first of all, for those who are not familiar with apostille work, we are facilitators. The apostille is the authentication issued through the Secretary of State, or your competent governing body who runs, the notary program. And so what they do, they are the highest level recognized by foreign countries. So when I notarize a document, then it'll go to the Secretary of State and they will authenticate that I'm a valid notary, that's my signature, that's a valid notarization, and they'll have a big red stamp that goes on top on a cover sheet and onto my certificate. And that then can be forwarded and accepted by a foreign body, by some foreign country. So that's the basic process of doing that. And so we have to have knowledge about what some of these states might require of us. Sometimes Secretary of State or the governor's office or the Department of Licensing, depending on who it is, might only accept it in person or might only accept it via FedEx or UPS. Certain countries may request certain things done. Maybe it has to start at the consulate before it goes over. There are lots of different things we need to know. And that's why that book, the first one, The Survivor's Guide, and now this one, is very helpful to those who have never done this business before. What's nice about the business is that the work you do is not regulated. The fee the Secretary of State charges is, just like our notarization is. But the courier part of it, filling out the paperwork part of it, standing at the counter and waiting for it, all of those things are things we can decide what that value is.
Okay.
And that's called an apostille facilitator.
Okay. That was, and that was, I mean, an excellent summary. It was, I had not ever really known much of it, but I knew that it was something that was something that a notary can do. I guess I definitely need to buy the book too. I just saw it on Amazon, and so, because I just wonder, how do you become that, or where do you start or begin to put your intention out there to be that for? It seems like it will be something very, very useful.
Well, absolutely. And you want to start with training. You don't want to start doing this stuff when you don't know what you're doing. And the book is great with the tips and helps you along, but you really need training so that you understand what the book is telling you. So that's where I would start. Is if I wanted to get into this business, I would get some training first. Now, there is information about it in my book with Bill, Beyond Loan Signings. I have a video on it called Laura Biewer Presents, and it will take an hour and walk you through what it is and what steps you need to take. And then Judy Lawrence, the author of the book that we started talking about, has her own certification program. And you can go to Lawrence Institute for Notaries is her website, and you can check out what her training is.
Okay. I mean, I just wanted to get, I know that even on the particular website where we do this every Tuesday, I know that was being offered with you guys too, in terms of a kind of training. I don't know if I missed that, but
Yeah, well,
I know that.
First of all, P&T every Tuesday isn't training. What we do is answer questions. that
Mhm.
specific questions that people might have, and we direct people where they can get the training. Some of it is
Yeah.
from us ourselves. Some of it might be from somebody not on TNT, but they're a colleague and we're confident about their training. So
Yes.
that's how you would get.
Okay. Thank
Great
you.
question,
Thank you very
Samuel.
much.
Thank you for asking that. And next
Yeah.
up, we have Elizabeth. She has a question for us. Elizabeth, tell us where you're calling from and what your question is. Elizabeth, you're on mute.
I can't raise my hand, Rose.
Sorry about that.
There you
Can you
go.
guys hear me?
Yes, Rose, we're going to get to you in just a moment after Elizabeth's question. So Elizabeth, what is your question for us?
So I have a situation coming up where the gentleman's parent is selling a home and they don't have a valid ID. They have expired ID. That ID was issued in 2015, so obviously I can't use it. They want to use credible witnesses, which is okay, but they want to schedule the credible witnesses separate days. I'm sure there's nothing in the rule book and handbook that I saw that they have to be um, uh, under oath under the same day, as long as they can tell me that they know them personally. She can't get an ID and so on and so forth.
So
Is
the
that
credible, Elizabeth, the credible witness, that part of the identification has to happen at the time that they're signing the document. So they both need to
Gotcha.
be there at the same time.
Oh, okay, okay. So I need to reschedule them so they can have both witnesses there at the same time
That's
available.
correct.
Gotcha. Okay. That I was wondering about that, so I need to go ahead and take care of that.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for asking. Does that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. And Monica, we're going to get to you in just a second. Somebody in our chat was telling us that their raise hand function isn't working, and it was right before you raised your hand, Monica. So thank you for your patience. Rose, are you there, Rose Farmer? Hi.
Yes, I'm here. This is for everybody that's in this group. I received a phone call not last week, but last Wednesday, and they got my name off a Notary Rotor, and they wanted me to go to a house in Forked River and get the people to following our recent conversation. I wanted to provide you with details regarding the notary services we require for use specific property in New Jersey. We are interested in acquiring a property that is at risk of auction. Our offer is to the homeowner involves them with a financial incentive between $5,000 and $10,000 in exchange for them signing over the property to us, assuming the debt. The auction property is in Barnegat, the owner's name. Auction is next week. Here's what we need from you: to visit the homeowner in Forked River, explain to them about the debt, overseeing signing the claim, and that I would receive a $500 payment to go out there and to talk to them. Well, I was a little sketchy about it, and I showed it to my husband, and there was no signature. Like, it just said best regards, Jane. But like I said, she found me on Notary Rotor. So what I did is, instead of going to Forked River, this address is actually physically 2 minutes from my house. I went to the house and I explained who I am, what I do, and if this was their property, and they said no. And they asked for a copy of it, and I said, because they were just in awe, and I said, I'm just a notary. I said, this came across me, and I said, it put a red alert for me. I said, I don't know if it's because they wanted me to go out there and maybe rob me or what, or if it was just a gimmick. So I let them know, and I gave them that document, and I also called the cops and explained the scenario, because the woman called me and left a couple messages, and I didn't return the phone calls because there was just something sketchy. So I just want people to be aware that something like this is going on in my area in New Jersey, and just to be aware that it's out there, because somebody says, oh, $500. Wow, that's a great offer, but it was an absolute complete scam, and I just want people to be aware of it.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Rose. And here's the thing that I think we all need to be aware of. Just because an order comes to you from a directory does not mean that that's a reputable directory like Notary Rotary. It does not mean that it's somebody, the person hiring that notary on the other end is not always is not 100% honest. So Laura, do you want to address this?
No, I think what you did is fine. It wasn't asking for notary work, first of all, right?
Mhm.
There wasn't a request for
No,
notary work.
no.
It was other stuff.
Not at all. It just wanted me to go out and,
Right. And those are
yes.
not activities that you can do as a notary. You can do it as a private citizen, but not as a notary. And so these things are out there, and we do have to pay attention to the orders that come to us or the emails that come to us, because they'll use a name that is well respected, well known, but they may not even be connected to them. I've seen it happen with the National Notary Association, and I've gotten emails that said the National Notary Association is working with us to do whatever. And I called the NNA and they said, we don't even know who they are. They're not working with us.
Yeah.
But it does happen. So it's good that it caught your attention. And remember, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I
think,
gave the phone number to the I gave the phone number that she called me on too
Okay.
to the cops as well, because it was just
Good.
a red alert.
I
Uh-huh.
think you did the
I'm
right
just
thing.
glad I was able to help those people. Yes.
You did the right thing. And I'm a bit, Laura knows this, and I know this about Laura to be true as well. Follow your gut. If your gut is telling you this is wrong, it's wrong, right?
Yeah.
It's speaking to you for a reason. So it's disturbing, Rose, but I'm so glad you shared that story because it's going to help other notaries when they feel that way to realize they're going to think about this and realize that, you know, hey, not everybody comes from a place of good, right? So thank you for
Correct.
sharing, Rose. I appreciate it.
I'm
All
gonna-
right, Monica,
Hi, thanks,
thanks
Jen.
for being patient. What is your question?
Thank you. Great to see you, Jen, and Laura. Great to see you too.
3
You
minutes.
too.
My question's basic. So I was a notary some years ago. My commission expired in 2020, but I am looking to reestablish myself in the notary world. And yeah, and I'm curious if what would be your recommendation, you know, to get my commission, you know, again, I have to kind of start from scratch.
Where are you located, Monica?
I'm in the Bay Area. I'm in the San Ramon, Danville area, so the East Bay of California. And obviously, I know I can go through the NNA. That's what I did before. But I learned about Notary Academy recently on your call from last week, and they offer certification as well, or you know, a course. And I'm just curious, what would be your recommendation? Which avenue would you recommend that I go through? Or do you have any, or do you have recommendations along those lines?
Well, I am a Texas girl, so I'm going to let Coach Me Laura in California handle this question because we don't have a test in Texas. Go ahead,
So,
Laura.
yeah, what I'm going to tell you is I can only recommend what I know. And although I know the integrity of the women who are in charge of Notary Academy, I've not taken their course. So I don't, I'm assuming it's good because I think they would only put on something good, but I can't say anything one way or the other because I haven't experienced it. I can tell you about the NNA and the NNA's course, the live courses. I wouldn't do the online, but I do the live course. I could be your instructor. That course is very well laid out, very well done. We have high passing rates. So I'm of course going to recommend that, but there are many other vendors who offer 6 hours of live training. And so I think you want to look at, you know, does it resonate with you? Do they offer something that's convenient for you, that's in your area? Do they offer printing and photographing during their training, which we do, right? Look at all the kinds of things, because becoming a notary isn't just take a class and you're done, right? There's all those other steps we have to go through. So can they help you with other steps would be another thing I'd be looking at. So you're not running all over town to do all these different things. So I would go to their Notary Academy website and see what they say about what they can offer you, because they could be a fine alternative.
Okay. Thanks, Laura. So you said do the in person versus the online course.
Yeah, if you can get in person, always better. I know for us, even our online is very good, but our in person, it's so much better because you can ask questions.
Yeah.
We're interacting with you. We've got all kinds of funny rhymes and things we do to help you remember the information, because it's all contingent on you holding about 100 points of law.
Yeah.
So about 6 o'clock in the evening, because it's a closed book test. So that's really, and dealing with strategy to multiple choice questions and test reading. It's not enough for you to read the material or hear the material. You've got to understand the material and understand when something's not right
Right.
with what they said. So, and that's what we do in the live stuff. Okay.
Thanks, Laura.
And if you need help with that, I'm happy to help you offline, because I can, of course, sign you up for a class.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks for the question, Monica. And so for Monica and anybody else who is a newer notary on the call, I want to remind you that there are resources out there to help you build your business. And one of them is my community called marketingfornotaries.com. And we had some really exciting stuff happen this week with our shop that we just launched. We are offering a 6-month marketing calendar to give you ideas, creative ideas for marketing. So you don't have to sit there and rack your brain to think of them all. I've done it for you, and now I'm sharing that with you. And we also have a new feature. It's kind of like Blockbuster for notaries. It allows you, we have 3 videos up right now. One is how to craft your elevator pitch. One is how to get builder business if you're a loan signing agent. And the last one is an amazing interview we did with an estate planning attorney. And you can buy these videos or you can rent them for a 24-hour period. So it gives you an opportunity to save a little money outside of joining a monthly subscription program. So I would love for you guys to check that out at marketingfornotaries.com. And if Jen doesn't mind, would you put that in the chat for me, Miss Cooper? Thank you so much.
Already done.
Oh, thanks. Oh, I didn't see it pop up. Okay. Teresa, you have a question for us. Tell us where you're calling from.
Can you hear me?
I
Yeah.
can.
Okay. I'm in California, and I got certified through you for trust signings. And my question is, I'm wondering if I'm overcharging. Now, the notaries that I do for one particular attorney, you know, in California, you know, we're a sue happy state, so we seem to have a lot more disclosures, forms, etc. And some of my notaries that I'm doing are running $400 or $500. So I'm just kind of wondering if I'm charging too much. I mean, I'm doing it based on $15 per each signature that I have to notarize, plus $1 a mile round trip.
Plus a what?
$1 a mile round trip.
So Laura, I'm going to let you address that in California.
So it does sound on the high end to me, although we're all independent notaries, and so we set our fees based on what it costs us to be in business, and what our profit margin is that we set for ourselves. I personally, in California, I'm in Central Valley, of course. I sit at about the 200 to 50 mark, and I do a flat fee. I make money when it's only one person, and I don't make as much money when it's 2, but the attorney pays the same fee, so they always know how much it's going to cost. And I don't charge travel extra. I include that in my fee. So that's the first part of it, but that doesn't mean in your area, if they're don't blink an eye and they're paying you $400, then maybe it's not too much for that particular attorney. I think part of it is the proof's in the pudding. Are you getting jobs? You know, if you're not getting very many jobs, then I'd say you might want to look at the pricing. But if you're getting the work, that might fly where you are.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like I did a notary this morning of where I notarized a total of 24 signatures. you know, because for witnesses, the attorney and the other witness that she gets, she wants those forms notarized as well as a witness. So you know, that's where the extra kind of
And so
notarized.
see, I don't have to notarize the witnesses because I don't do the trust that I'm getting don't have the affidavit, self-proving affidavit that goes with the wills. So that's like 4 signatures extra that I don't have.
Yeah,
So
and
that could be, but even still,
yeah,
that might then be 300. But the bottom line is this: what people need to know is everybody has to decide what's the right price range for them based on their own cost of doing business. That's the first element. The second element is, am I going to get jobs at that price point? Because I can say, look, I want $500 per trust. But if they can get it for 400 or for 300, I might not see much business. So you have to, it's a little bit of trial and error to see what price seems to fit okay and that you can get enough work. I would rather get a little bit more business at a little bit lower price than get the high end but only get one job a month. So I think that's, and I can't answer that for you. You have to decide what your business volume is. Could it be more if you didn't charge as much, or is this the right price? Because
well,
I don't
yeah,
know what your volume is. I don't know what, you know, all that other detail
yeah.
is for you.
Well, I seem to get about 2 or 3 trust signings from this one attorney. And
A week, a month?
a week. And
Well, then
yeah,
it
and
might be just fine.
yeah, and she doesn't pay, the attorney doesn't pay me. She has the clients pay me. So
And that's fine.
yeah, you know, and she wants that extra layer of protection as far as getting witnesses notarized.
Nothing wrong with any of that. Just makes
Yeah.
it a bigger package, takes a little more time, and ultimately it's my time that I'm charging for. I don't have to get $15 per, that's not the law. I can do it for 0. I can be the 99-cent notary.
Oh, wow.
The law says maximum is 15, not minimum.
Right.
So that's why I'm able to play around with that pricing as long as I don't charge more than the notarial value for
Yeah.
that piece of it. And if I'm charging less there, then I might add travel to that. So you have
Oh, I
a
see.
lot of ways, like I deliver the trust myself for the attorney. They give it to me, I meet them, I walk them through all the pages like a loan signing agent, right? And so I'm
Right.
orchestrating the appointment. I'm scanning the signature pages back so they can see it was signed and notarized, not the rest of it, just those pages. So I'm doing some extra work and I say, here's how much time it takes me to do all that work. Now,
Yes.
if I think my value is $400 an hour, then I need to be charging that. So that's my perspective, but I'm only one perspective.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. I may drop my fee from 15 down to 10 or something like that, just to give, you know, these large orders,
Yeah,
give these people a break.
exactly.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about being a business owner, Teresa. You get to decide that. It's entirely up to you.
I know.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thanks for that question. That was, I appreciate you asking that. Thanks so much, Teresa.
Thank you.
All right, Lena, Lena's back. What is your question for us, Lena?
Oh no.
Lena's microphone, I don't think is working. Lena, go ahead and put your question in the chat.
And then we'll answer it.
And we will have, Jen Cooper's already got her hand up for somebody else. So we will have her, Jen, if you don't mind, be on the lookout for that so we can address Lena's question. Poor thing, she's trying, isn't she? But in the meantime, Jeanette, how are you?
Hey.
Hi, how are you? This is Jeanette from Michigan. And I have a question, or I'm looking for a suggestion. I get quite a bit of notary work, you know, to go to nursing homes, senior citizens, and a lot like today, you know, the one was 99 years old. Most times they don't have a current driver's license. And because, you know, at 99, you probably wouldn't. And so, but Michigan law says that we can't accept expired license. But however, is there a workaround with that, or is there a suggestion? Because again, I'm going into these facilities. I'm not talking about going to their houses. I have to sign in. You know, they have the wristband on, and I see their name on the door. So is there a workaround with that, even though Michigan said I'm not supposed to accept expired ID licenses?
Yeah, so what does your law say about credible witnesses?
I think I have the credible witness. I think I'm not real sure, but I think I have to know the credible witness. Yeah.
So check, my first suggestion is refresh yourself on credible witness to see if it's one, you know them, two, you don't have to know them, see if you have that option. I have that in California, you may not. But here's the bottom line. Doesn't matter how old they are. The problem is the law makes no exception. You find a way to identify them either through the ID card that's current or credible witness. Thank you, Shelley. That says the notary must know the witness who knows the signer. So if you can't make that arrangement, then you're not the right notary for that particular signer. They need a notary who has a friend in common with them. And that's the only way that you can do that in Michigan. And it's unfortunate there isn't any other leeway for you in your state as there is in some of our states. For instance, however, like advanced healthcare directives, when they're calling me, I say, do you know that they could be just witnesses instead of a notary, and the witnesses don't have to have valid ID for that. Or sometimes if it's a document that I know doesn't have to have a notarization, it could be two witnesses. That might be a way to help them. The other way is if they've got, they got family or friends, and maybe they can reach out to somebody they know so that you meet that personal knowledge situation. But I have the same issue whether I'm going to somebody's home or whether I'm going to a facility. The other thing that I'm going to suggest to you, Jeanette, is that you verify that they have valid ID before you show up so that you don't make a wasted trip. Whoever's coordinating that appointment, make sure you verify, do they have valid photo ID? This is what I need in Michigan. If not, here's what you would want to do with your signer, find a notary who has a friend in common with that signer. And then you let that appointment go because that one isn't going to be for you.
Okay, thank you.
Jeanette, I just wanted to offer something. We love a piggyback around here. So I just wanted to piggyback on that and say, it sounds like an incredible opportunity for you to work with the staff at these nursing homes that you are going to and do a little training on what's required when one of their residents asks for a notary, including the state identification card that they can still procure even at the age of 99. So you might want to, it might be a great way for you to even endear yourself more to the folks at these different facilities that you're visiting.
And to piggyback on that there are some states that their issuing agency, for us it's DMV, but whoever your issuing agency is, might do in-home appointments for bedridden or people who are not able to get out of a facility. California has that. So not very well known. So you might want to check into that as well. They might be able to get an ID card. So that's another possibility.
So just to be clear, Jen, so for instance, where I went today, I have my card there and they refer me, to these to this clientele. So what are you saying that I should get to know them more on a one-on-one, the staff, it's usually like the secretary or whatever.
Yeah.
And would that qualify as a credible witness? Because I know the staff, they know the patient.
If they will volunteer for that. So
Not
that,
all facilities will allow their staff to act in a witnessing capacity, so you'd have to find that out.
yeah, that is
Oh,
something
yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah,
to find
yeah,
out.
yeah,
But
you're right, you're right. Most of them won't. That
do
doesn't.
do I
99% won't.
agree you need to get to know the staff better so that you can pass out information so that families are aware when these changes need to be made. They have to have some form of identification or find a notary
Right.
that knows that the notary and the patient knows the credible witness. Absolutely. And you
Okay.
going in and doing like a little staff training for them, explaining how identification works in the state of Michigan is going to help them at the front end when somebody says, I need a notary, they can, you know, tell them what they know about the requirements that would be needed before they even pick up the phone and call you.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. All right, Norman, how are you, Norman? Norman's from New York.
Hey, everyone. How are you?
Great. How are you doing
So
today, Norman?
good. Can't complain. I just wanted to piggyback. Ironically, you mentioned piggyback. Wanted to piggyback off of what Jen and Laura said, and then my also fellow New Jerseyer, since I'm dual commission, is that you want to make sure, because I had two situations actually within the past few days. One situation, a signing company, I did a job for them, and they wanted the initials a certain way that they didn't really specify. So once the signing was done, they wanted me to meet with the signer again to redo it, which was no problem. Now, one of the questions they had, because they were really ready for the drop off for FedEx, is can you ask the signer if it's okay if you'll initial for them and then take it? Yes. So I'm saying this to say you may have signing services that are trying to tempt you to do something that you're not willing to do, what you can't do. So definitely stick to your gut, because I told that signer, and ironically, it's through text message, I said to her, under notarial law, I'm unable to do that. And her response was, if you say so. And then we continued.
Yeah.
And then another situation I had literally before I got on this call is that a client that I never had called my number through Google, thinking I guess I was like the Secretary of State or somebody that they could report a notary to. So they called me trying to report another notary who ironically ended up being a family member that is a notary and that did something with some fraud documents and took like over 150K. So I also say this to say, definitely be careful. Everyone has their own business, so I can't tell you how to run your own business. But when it comes to like notarizing stuff with family, be leery.
Yeah.
For me, I don't do it at all. I'll refer them to somebody else, but definitely be leery, because even if you think that the clients may not report you, they may be really willing and able to report you and willing to go through any like legal procedures.
Well, I'm sorry that you sounds like you've had a rough couple of days, Norman, but
It's been interesting.
yeah, I bet, but I appreciate you sharing that. And I think it, like you said, it goes back to listening to your gut, which is so important. And sometimes we do get foggy, I guess is the word I'm looking for when we're thinking about money, right? Because that's what we're all in
Mm-hmm.
business for. Let's be honest, we're all in business to make money. But there are, like I said, not everybody leads with integrity in this world. And so we have to rely on our gut. And sometimes it's just better to say, instead of finding out if something's accurate or, you know, like going down that rabbit hole, like if it doesn't feel right for you, I know this freaks some people out, but it's okay to say no to a customer. It is absolutely within your rights to say no to a customer.
You're right. You're right. I've
And,
said no to a few.
yeah, I've had to do it myself. I'm sure Laura's had to do it. So thank you for reiterating that, Norman. Yes, and keep listening to your gut. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, Larry in San Francisco, how you doing? What's your question for us today?
My question basically was, if if a job is coming through a signing platform like Notary Dash or something like that, they have access to our documentation, right? Like I saw a job request, I think it was last week, where they were asking for a couple of things that maybe that creeped me out. I didn't even try for them. But then I'm thinking maybe I was being paranoid. One of the requests was that you immediately take photos of the ID and upload it to these people, like while you're at the table. And I know that you guys recommend against taking photos of people's ID with our phones. But the thing that really creeped me out was that they wanted anyone who signed up with them, anyone who got the job, to send them, to pre-send them a copy of your E&O insurance policy. And I'm thinking, well, if they're going through a platform, because it seemed to resolve to like Notary Dash, I think it was. If they're going through a platform, you will have already uploaded copies of that, and anyone legitimately going through a platform would see your policies.
Mhm.
And I'm also thinking, well, that's kind of public information, so maybe I'm being overly paranoid. So I'm wondering, is that true? If they're placing the order through a platform, they will already see your documentation to know that all of your policies are up to date, right?
I would think, but I can't speak for every platform that's out there. I mean, I don't know the inner workings of all of them. I would think that's possible. I would also not hesitate to reach out to that person and ask if they are unable to view your documents in the portal where they found you, and kind of see what they say. Because right off the bat, if somebody's like, I need this immediately and you've got to send me your E&O, it's like, are you planning on suing me like immediately after that? Are you planning on filing a claim is what I would be thinking. But Laura, do you have any knowledge about that at all?
I don't work off platforms myself.
Yeah, I don't either.
So, yeah. And I would think they would have it, but again, I don't know. I really just don't know how much they're allowed to access from what you upload.
I have had just Larry, just so you know, I've working with specific title companies, I have had them say to me before, and these were people I had a personal, like I'd built a relationship with them. We need to get a copy of your updated E&O. Can you send that to me? Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
But if it's happening in a way that it isn't normal, I think that is a sign for you to either ask the people at the platform and clarify and find out, so that you're not just willy-nilly sending that around and to to the folks asking for it. Does that make sense? All right. Thanks, Larry, for asking that. Jen, do you have some questions from the chat box for us?
I sure do. We're going to start with Esther. She wants to know if anybody has any feedback about Ron notaries using hand-drawn signature added electronically or electronically created with the signature font.
And if we have any information, I get you don't know any else.
That's
Anything
her
else?
question. That's literally word for word her question.
What's that?
Does anybody have any feedback?
No. Who was it?
Oh, Esther.
Esther, do you want to unmic for a moment just so we can get some?
She
Her
can't.
mic's not working. Okay.
That's why I'm doing it.
I do not have any. I am not a Ron certified anymore because I never used it in Texas. So I am not certified. So I don't have anything. But if you guys have some feedback in the chat for Esther that you would like to provide, please do so. And then Jen, did we have another question?
Yeah, from Lena. We had mic problems.
Oh, good. I'm glad Lena.
I'm just setting up my business and I have registered with several signing services. One of them has stated that they will give priority to a notary with a mobile printer. Is this an expense that I need to spend at this point? Recommendations? Does anybody have a printer in their vehicle? That is her question. I definitely have an answer to that one, but I'm bringing it to you guys.
So I think we all have our own opinions about this, and our opinions are based on our business experience.
Right.
And that's all I can, give you is the experience I've had. I have never once felt the need to have one. I just don't run my business that way where, I mean, I make it clear during the call. I ask questions. I find out what their timeline is. If I think I've had to stop at like a Staples and ask them to fax something. That's how long ago it was. but I've never needed to do that. And when you're just starting out, Lena, it's real easy to get online and find, this person says you need this and this person says you need that. And gosh, before you know it, you've just spent all kinds of money on tools and things, and you don't know if you're even going to need them or not. So
Right.
take that slowly, keep coming back to the call, Lena, keep asking the questions. But in my opinion, and I know Laura's had to step away. She is teaching for the NNA today. Jen, I would love to hear your opinion on a mobile scanner.
A mobile printer. I think that if we were still in the season, Jen, where you couldn't blink without jobs being thrown at you, and you having the ability of having a mobile office made your life make sense. Because we're not in that season right now, I wouldn't invest in it at the moment. If it's something she wants to add to her list later on, I think it's something to add later on. But as a new business, you're right. You're counting every cost and everything that you're investing in. And this is just not the season where that makes a ton of sense, in my opinion, to have a mobile office.
Laura, do you have any input on that? You're on mute.
I have some activity here. My answer is going to be very similar to Jen's. If I have one that's asked for something special, I may decide that I don't want to make that investment yet for one. I don't know how much work I'm going to get from them yet. And portable printers are not 50 cents, they're expensive. So I would be waiting to invest in equipment, capital equipment, when I see there's a real need.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
means more than one assignment.
We are all on the same page with that. And Lena, I hope that helps answer your question. Thanks for getting that question submitted. Jen, did we have any others?
I see.
Well, I'll tell you what, while you're looking. Oh, do we have one?
Yeah, Serena's asking if there are steps that she needs to take to sign up with senior facilities.
Well, like anything, building relationships is the best step you can take to get to know your senior living facilities, to get to know hospital administrators, to get to know care facilities. And that starts with visiting and letting them get to know you, talking to the staff about the services that you offer, how you can help their residents, and then going back and then staying in touch with them via email, getting a contact from somebody, stay in touch with them, let them know that you want to service their facility, you want to be their go-to notary. This is again the 5-point marketing system that we talk about at marketingfornotaries.com. Whether it's an assisted living facility, a care facility, a giant hospital, the print shop down the street that you want to get to know, or even the FedEx shop that you want to partner with because they're no longer doing notarizations. Maybe it's your bank. The 5-point marketing system is going to teach you how to grow these relationships, because it is intimidating to get out there. It is scary as heck to get out there and start making people aware of your business, but you are your brand. And at Marketing for Notaries, we teach you how to really develop that brand around yourself, get out there and meet the people you need to meet to make the kind of money you want to make. Laura, do you have anything to add to that?
The only thing I would add is, if you're going to go visit facilities to let them know about your services that you offer to their clients, is please don't come with, I'm a notary, so give me work. Bring something of value that shows you're interested in their clients, interested in them. And earlier in this call, that was mentioned about offering an in-service or training, a leave behind, something that helps them know what to say to a client who's asking for a notary, what they might need for that. And I've done that. That's how I built my hospital and facility. And I am the go-to for quite a few hospitals, even when they have a list. And sometimes they're saying, well, I can't just say one. They got a list of 5. And then when they say, well, which one should I start with? They say, well, we work with her. She's the one that comes through all the time. So I end up being called almost every time over the other ones, because I built relationships with the nursing staff, social services staff, because I've done in-services, because I've left a leave behind, that says, here's the 5 steps to notarization. Here's what I would need in order to take care of your client, so that they feel empowered to have a conversation with their patient and see whether or not they're a candidate for notarization.
And Laura, I did put the link to that in the chat. If you would like to see Laura's free downloadable to do an in-service or to provide some guidance to your local medical facilities about notarization, you can customize it with all your own branding. It's available at coachmelora.com/resources. And guys, we're out of time. Martha, Shelley, please come back next week with your questions, or please feel free. So if you don't want to forget them, submit your questions at notarycoach.com/TNT, and we will be back next week to answer all of your questions that we can in our hour together. Thank you guys all for being here today, and we will see you next week. Bye, guys.
Thank you.